Alexa, ask Jarvis to set switch trigger to 76 degrees Fahrenheit.
It is done.
Hey, what's up? Nasir Malik here. Welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be creating a smart temperature and humidity switch with Alexa. So let's get started. So here are some of the commands I would like to use for the switch. I'm going to give it a command: Alexa, ask Jarvis to set switch trigger to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So when it gets to 45 degrees Fahrenheit or above, the relay is going to turn on, thus turning on the attached device. But when the temperature is below 45 degrees, it's going to turn it off. Same way I want to be able to do this for humidity. I also would like to activate and deactivate switch trigger. I also like to control the attached relay device mainly with my command on and off. And I would like to also get a temperature reading by giving a voice command. So for the project, you need following things. You need a Node MCU or any ESP8266 enabled development board or ESP8266 by itself. You can also use this on the ESP32. You need a Alexa Echo Dot, a relay, micro USB cables, and a sensor. Step 1 is to deploy a Heroku app. So first thing in this project you need to do is deploy the Heroku app. This is a GitHub project. I'm gonna include the link in the video description. So once you come to this GitHub project, you go down and look for this button, click on it. If you're not registered with Heroku, it's going to ask you to register. Once you register, it will take you here. So you need to give your app a name. So I'm going to give the same name I used earlier. So I'm going to call it a smart temp switch. Once you do that, you just click deploy. So it's going to deploy your app and you can see the log. Once it deploys it, you need the app name with the URL. So you need to enter that URL in the Alexa skill and the name in the sketch. So as you see, it's finished. If you click on the build log, you need to copy this URL. You're going to need that. Step 2 is to create Alexa skill. To create Alexa skill, you need an Amazon developer account. You could go to this URL and register. I'm already registered, so I'm going to sign in. So once I log in, I click on Alexa menu, click on Alexa skills kit, click on this button, add a new skill, select custom interactive model. So first you give your skill a name. I'm going to call it smart switch. Then you need to give it an invocation name. That'll be the name you will using when you say Alexa ask, and this will be your invocation name. It could be Matrix, Jarvis, whatever. So I'm going to use Jarvis. Next you click save, click next. Now we're going to click on launch skill builder beta. This allows you to build skill through the UI. So first thing we need to do is create a new intent. So we're going to create a new intent by clicking add button, and this new intent we're going to call smart switch. I'm going to create an intent. Next we need to add some slots. So we're going to add a slot. We're going to name it measurement underscore type, and we're going to add two values in there, humidity and temperature. Next we're going to add another slot. We're going to call this slot query. In the query we're going to use two values, what and is. We're going to add another slot. We're going to call it switch state, and it has two values, off and on. We're going to add another slot, and that's going to be temp scale, that's gonna hold two values, Celsius and Fahrenheit. Let's click back onto our custom intent. Here we're going to add intent slots. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to say switch state, and we're going to map this to the switch state. We're going to add another value, which is sensor values. Once this is added, we're going to map it to measurement type. We're going to add another one. We're going to add another intent slot, query, and we're going to map that to query. Another intent slot, temp scale, and going to map that to temp scale. So we need one more. So the difference between the ones the slot types we added so far, they were custom slot. It took values, but sometimes there are some slots that you need dynamic, like numbering from 1 to X. For that, we need to use one of the built-in slots from Amazon. So we're gonna say add, and instead of creating a new one, we're gonna say we want to existing one. And for the existing one, we can say Amazon number. So basically, when we say 5 or 10 or whatever the word for number, it's gonna convert that into the actual digit. So we're gonna use this one. So we're gonna select this, we're gonna add. So now this is added into our available slot types. So when we go back to the occurrences and intent slots, so we're gonna add one in here to map it. So we're just gonna say intent slot number, and then we'll map this number to the Amazon number, and we're done. So now I kept this instead of adding the occurrences, I kept it for the last to save you guys time and work, because I want you to be able to take the text as is and paste it, so this saves you a lot of time. I have this sheet that I'm working off that I created earlier. So what you do is you basically copy each of them in here, and as you can see, it automatically highlights these because it's able to detect these from here. I like the feature in Google where they have the agent. You can export the entire agent and import it. They don't I think it's, since it's new, still beta, Amazon doesn't have this functionality. So hopefully they'll add this soon, because otherwise this is pain, especially for you guys if you guys want to try it out. So I just copy pasted all the occurrences from here to there. So if you follow, I'm gonna upload this to GitHub, and all the links will be in a video description, so you will have all this information, you can follow along. So when this is done, you basically do save model, and then you say build model, and then you wait until this completes. So once this is done, you click on configuration menu, so it takes you to the configuration page. So in this page, you select HTTPS, and for the endpoint, you will put in HTTPS and your Heroku app name, basically the whole URL for your Heroku app that you deployed already. So whatever your Heroku app you deployed, you copy paste that name in here, the URL, and the rest you leave as is, and you click next. And in here I would just select this option, the subdomain, and click next, and we're done creating our Alexa skill. Step 3 is to flash Sketch to Node MCU with Arduino IDE. So before you can flash your Node MCU, you need to make sure following folder needs to be copied to the Arduino libraries folder, Arduino JSON, DHT, and Arduino WebSockets. And the path, wherever you have your Arduino IDE installed, you need to go there and copy these folder into the library. And then you're ready to flash your Node MCU. To flash the Node MCU, you're going to need this sketch right here, temperature, humidity switch. And once you have downloaded it, you can open it up in the Arduino IDE. The only thing you need to change is your SSID and the password. You need to put in the Heroku app name here. If you remember, we copied the actual this URL from the Heroku log once it was deployed. So I just need to copy the just app name, not the whole URL. So once you do all of this, if you want, you can change your the sensor, temperature, humidity sensor pin, which is GPIO 14, and also relay pin, which is 16. I'm going to be using these. If you want to change it, you can change it. Everything else you can leave it as is. I'm gonna remove this. Okay, so now I'm ready to flash my sketch to my Node MCU. So I'm going to go and make sure I have the Node MCU 12E version selected right here, and I need to make sure I connect my Node MCU. So once you connect it, to put it in a flash mode, you press these two buttons at the same time and let it go. And once you connect it, you should be able to see your port. Make sure you have selected the correct port to flash your program. So now just click this button to compile and flash. So once it finish compiling, you should see a blue light going over here, and you will be able to see that it is flashing. Okay, there we go. So hopefully you can see this LED blinking. It's flashing, and while it's flashing, I want to open up the serial console and to show you what to expect. If you can tell from the serial console if everything went well or there are any issues. So you see it's trying to connect to your Wi-Fi, and it's connected to Wi-Fi. Now it's need to connect to your Heroku app. I'm gonna wait for it. It's already spitting out the humidity and the counters, but they're not correct because we haven't hooked up the sensor yet. So we're gonna wait for it to connect to Heroku app. I mean, you can connect the sensors. You don't have to wait for this validation. You can have everything connected and then wait. There you go. So now it is connected, and we're getting default values. So nice thing about this sketch is if you lose power and stuff, and if you already have triggers set up, it will automatically fetch those triggers from the cloud, and then you don't need to worry about it if you lose power and stuff. Only thing limitation to this is you can only set one trigger at a time. You can either set it on Fahrenheit, Celsius, or humidity, and you can also control the relay manually, giving command to Alexa. So we verified that this is done. So let's hook up our sensor, humidity sensor. Step 4 is to connect sensor and relay with Node MCU. So as soon as I hook it up, and you guys can see it starts reading the temperature and all that stuff on the screen. And to show you that it works, I'm gonna light up a lighter and see if this works. So as you can see, it is jumping from 75 to 77, so it is working. So now next we're gonna go ahead and hook up our relay. It's a simple single channel relay. It hooks up the same way. So these two sensors are hooked up. To make sure to test my relay, I'm going to give a command to Alexa. So let's test out the relay to make sure it is connected properly. Alexa, ask Jarvis to turn switch trigger on.
It is done.
Alexa, ask Jarvis to turn switch trigger off.
It is done.
So let's take a look at the console output. So right now it is set to 77°F. So I want my so I'm gonna go ahead and hook up a light bulb with my relay, and then I'm gonna make sure that I can turn my set a trigger based on the humidity or temperature in Celsius or Fahrenheit, and I want my bulb to switch on when it reaches that temperature. So let's do that. Step 5 is to connect a 110 volt device to relay, and this is how you would hook up a device to relay. So if you this is single channel relay, the other side gets connected to the Node MCU, and this is a common terminal right here. In the default, when the relay is off, it is connected to this terminal. So what we want to do is, from the 110 volt outlet, we want the incoming wire to be connected to the common terminal right here, and the device should hook up to this terminal right here, and the ground, which is not showing here, or the neutral, should go directly to the device. So when you give it a command, the relay is going to turn off and complete the circuit, and the electricity will start flowing. So basically here I have a light bulb with the plug hooked up to the other end. Cut the hot wire in the middle, this wire directly going to the bulb already, and I cut the hot wire in the middle and connected the hot wire coming from the plug to the middle pole right here, and the one is going to bulb is hooked up on the first one. So once by default this is not connected, these two poles are not connected, so when I give command and the relay turns on, these two are connected. By default this and this connected, so I want it by default to have it off. So let's try this, see if our trigger works. So I'm going to connect this the other end. So be careful working with the high voltage. So I'm going to connect this on the other end with the extension cord. Make sure it's turned off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set with my command, and then I want to do is bring a lighter close to this sensor, and I want this relay to turn this bulb on and off. So if we look at the screen right now, the current temperature is set to 75.20 Fahrenheit. I'm not worrying about the decimal, I'm worrying about the whole value. This sketch still is under development. We're going to be creating a web interface and control it from cell phone also. So there are some issues and stuff with it, but most part you're able to set your triggers. Alexa, ask Jarvis to set switch trigger to 76°F.
It is done.
And you can see the command went through and it is set, but bulb is not still on. So we're going to make sure that we get, I switched on my extension cord, and now I'm gonna go ahead and use this slider to bring it close to the sensor and move the temperature a little bit higher, so see the light bulb comes on. Because the AC is right now turned on, so it's kind of like you could see the flame going back and forth, so it took a little bit of delay to come on. So once the temperature goes down, it is going to turn it back off. So as you can see, even the humidity changed to went to 49%. So next we're gonna try it with humidity. So set a trigger for humidity and see if it switches based on humidity. Alexa, ask Jarvis to set switch trigger to 52% humidity.
It is done.
So as you can see, once the humidity got to 52%, the light came on, and once it goes down, it is going to turn it back off automatically. So let's see. So current humidity is 56%. So let me see if I can move the sensor closer to the heat. And the closer to the heat, it should go down. Let me try the lighter. It's taking forever. I hope I don't burn the sensor. Maybe there's a better way to show you guys. Okay, there you go. Oh, it's back up. Okay. So this is it, just a demo, initial demo. Hopefully I can add more features and functionality. Please let me know in your comments what you would like to see next with this project. Hopefully I can get this done. So maybe we'll have a couple more episodes for this, unless I figure we need more things to play around with. So until next time, bye.